whenever you're ready.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Caroline. Okay, everybody. Thank you for being here, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and to AHECS for organising these sessions. And I've really appreciated other colleagues sharing their expertise, and it's been so helpful. And what we've done today is essentially developed the session so that you can actually make the changes or implement this type of a clinic to your own service if you feel that that would be useful. And it's a shout out also to AHECS for all the work and support that they do for me personally in the profession. For the last 20 years I've been working here, and also some of the highlights, bringing in international expertise. I kind of feel like after the session yesterday, like whatever our dreams are or however big our ambitions, we put it to AHECS, we make it happen. My experience is they've been really receptive of bringing in international best practice. So I just wanted to say that. So moving on to the our purpose today, and it is essentially to share with you our experience of the CV Reviewer Training Programme. And my name's Orla Tunney. I'm one of the careers consultants here. I would have established the training and supervision for the service, and I worked on it for 2 years and then handed over to another careers consultant lead, John Wynne, and John then handed over to Orla O'Dwyer, who's another careers consultant. So Orla has just taken over the clinics in the last couple of months. So with me today is Fidelma Flannery. I don't know if you want to switch on there, Fidelma. You've been here already. People have maybe seen you. And I'm going to speak for 20 minutes or so and then hand over to Fidelma, who's one of our CV reviewers, does fabulous work. And she has also contributed as a facilitator to the CV reviewer training. So thank you so much, Fidelma, for making it today. And to my colleague, Emma Skelton, who is on the operations team, and she is the linchpin in the operation when it comes to running the clinics, making sure people get paid, scheduling. And Emma is going to be with us for the duration of today's session, and any questions and comments. She really has all the answers when it comes to the practicalities. She really has a good sense of the the community of PhD reviewers and what's happening there. So she's lots to offer today as well. So that's essentially where we're at in terms of the agenda. It's looking at setting the scene. I'll just let you know, how did we get to this point? What were the prompts for us to work a little bit differently? Again, for you to consider whether or not you want to implement this approach yourselves. So we've got the job description, give you an overview of the interviews, the training. There's quite a bit of detail here, maybe too much to go through it all today, but enough for you to see whether it's something you'd like to do yourselves. The impact of the CV clinics, it's been hugely successful. So again, sharing some of the evidence with you. And again, Fidelma is going to share her experience as a reviewer and how that might have shaped as well, Fidelma, how you actually facilitated the training, because that's really useful, how the CV reviewer, the PhDs are actually, peer learning, essentially, which is fantastic. And then open to questions and comments. So I hope that sounds like it's worth hanging on for another 14 minutes. And so in terms of setting the scene, just to say, like many of you, we are working more and more with students. They are an incredible resource with so much to offer. And we have our CV reviewers, who at the moment are all PhD students, but we are open to other students who have at least 2 years work experience. We have digital marketing assistants who we hire also, events assistants, and last summer we had 2 summer interns, and their work was on disability specific projects. But to the case in hand, which is the CV review clinics, up to 2018, all our CV reviewer clinics were delivered by careers consultants, and it was considered that that wasn't necessarily the best use of our expertise and time. And it was also in response to one of the recommendations from the 2015 quality review of the service that we developed a CV reviewer training and supervision programme. And it's been very successful. To date, we have hired and trained 24 CV reviewers, and we continue to hire on an annual cycle and to train, obviously. Attendance rate is around 63% attendance rate at our CV clinics, looking at the statistics, and it is offered online and in person, like all of you. We went online from March 2020. We continued online until April 2022, and we are now offering both, because there is a demand for both online and in person. And just to increase our attendance rates, what we've done is we've started to offer CV clinics on a more specific basis. So on a class-specific basis, it's integrated into our Trinity Employability Awards, and our CV clinics are also part of the accredited employability modules for PhD students. And that has increased attendance at CV clinics as well. So the service, what do we actually offer? Very similar to the rest of you, and we are upfront. Our reviewers are PhD students, fully trained, and they will review CV, cover letter or LinkedIn profile. It's a 15-minute meeting, and one document will be reviewed for feedback, and it's ideal for layout, content, tips, and usage is restricted to once per month during the busy periods and delivered in person and online. So job description or job advert, this is page 1 of 2 pages. So essentially, the student needs to be registered. It is a part-time role and it's targeted PhD students, but as I said, other students with 2 years full-time experience in the working world are also welcome. Working with students on a one-to-one basis to review their CV or LinkedIn profile and give constructive feedback and advice as part of our CV clinic service. And then participating in other activities. We also have had great experience because I have so many ideas, and challenge us as well. So it's really, really, I think it works great both ways. What the CV reviewers will gain from the role then: practical work experience, an opportunity to support students with their job applications, really making a positive contribution to the college and to the student experience, developing their own transferable skills, and then it's paid €20 per hour. And again, the hours depend on need, so we do need that flexibility. And how to apply CV and cover letter. And as you know, what we see on that CV is a great reflection of possible CV advice into the future. So candidates need to be registered, they need to have the IT equipment to offer a good service online, be committed to student care and development, available for the training and on an as needed basis for clinics, and
Well, you've gone on mute.
Emma.
And did you mean to share your slides, or just quickly?
Yes,
it's
not.
They're not. No, they're not.
Okay.
They're not coming up.
Okay. Okay, it would have been helpful to have heard that before now, but I really appreciate that, Emma. Okay, so this is our agenda. Can you see the slides there now?
Yes.
Yes, Orla. Yeah, okay. Perfect.
This is the job advert, or this is the service. I just read through it. And this is the job advert. We really do welcome diversity in our service. We have a diverse student body, and inclusivity is really important, and we call that out in the job advert. The interview matrix, so the competencies on which we select are based on the competencies in the job advert. So this is the basis for the interviews, and all the careers consultants get involved in the interviews. So on that basis, the CV reviewers are invited to the training. And what the CV reviewers are contracted to do is essentially to provide clinics, refer where appropriate to other services, to attend supervision at the end of each clinic with the careers consultant, allocate their availability according to the career service timetable, and when they're not busy with students, to do other work as directed by the director. And if they cannot attend a clinic, they need to give us as much notice as possible. So that's essentially what the CV reviewers are signing up to. The key outcomes then of the training is for the students to have the ability and confidence to deliver the clinics, and to do that for a diverse student body, as I said, within a 15-minute time frame, to understand the employer expectations from a range of sectors and to apply the different approaches, the STAR, STEPS, EPIC approach, and I can go through that more if it's unfamiliar to some of you, apply the skilled helper model and demonstrate effective communications and agree supervision with the careers consultant as a support to develop their skill set. So this is an overview of the training. So stage one is looking at, we send out pre-course work so that there's reading and activities before the workshop, that the CV reviewers observe a CV clinic and then that they actually practice themselves and get feedback. Stage two then is they're actually working as a trainee CV reviewer where the supervision is built in. And the third stage then is their fully trained CV reviewers, and there is around once a semester peer support where they meet as a group to discuss, you know, what's working, what's not working well, and interesting themes emerge there for further professional development. So pre-course reading is essentially giving them information on, you know, the basics of CVs, and then pre-course activities, getting familiar with the service, you know, logging into My Career or whatever system you use, so they get familiar with, you know, jobs, etc., set up their own LinkedIn profile, complete a rubrics for 2 jobs, so they're actually selecting people using a rubrics, getting them to review a whole variety of different CVs, like mature student CV, international student CV, etc. Complete the doodle polls so they can tell us when they're free, so Emma can start scheduling them in. And also to note that a CC will be on duty during CV clinics. So a careers consultant is on duty during the clinics. If there's any issue, they know that there's support in the background if they need it, and that supervision will take place for half an hour immediately after each CV clinic. So it's fresh and the reflection and learning can happen straight away. And that the timetable will be allocated to them. So Emma then allocates their timetable based on their availability after the training. So this is essentially showing you the training in another way. Day one is essentially the workshop, and in the next couple of slides I'm going to go into a bit more detail on framing the meeting and the reflective practice piece, which is critical in terms of learning. And day two is observing the CV reviewer in practice. And then the third, as I said, is actually practicing the CV clinic and getting feedback from their peers, the other trainees, and the CV reviewer who's helping with the training, as well as the careers consultant. So basically those 3 days of learning are over a 10 to 2 week period. Typically we do it in May, June time, so the students have experience over the summer months, so they're good to go come the busy semester one. And so this is a quick overview of the workshop. So this is essentially group discussion based on the pre-coursework reading and activities, and then getting the students to think about the reviewers, the trainees, about their own experience of think of somebody who you have met for help. Obviously, the supervisor is a good example. So that then gets us thinking about our own experience, skills, you know, the environment, you know, we all have experience, and that really gets the juices going and starting to focus in on what's needed for a effective helping meeting. The next section then is role play between the lead careers consultant and the CV reviewer, and that can be a bit of fun and huge learning, you know, just the eye contact, body language, distractions. You know, we call out a lot of those things so they can be named. We give an overview, and I'm going to go into that now in a little bit more detail in terms of communication skills and the Jared Egan skilled helper model, and then role play where the students actually give each other feedback on their CVs based on what we've learned. So that is over a 3-hour period, typically 10 o'clock in the morning to 1 just before lunch, and it works well. It works well within that time, time for a little coffee and, you know, socializing as well, getting to meet each other, and a great range of disciplines. You know, we've got scientists, physicists, art historians, etc., and they get a time to chat with each other and get to meet each other. Okay, I know I'm speaking very fast, but I'm not going to go into too much detail on all of this. But any careers consultants, career coaches, career guidance people in the audience will know all of this. But for our CV reviewers, some of them will know a lot of this, but not everybody. And it's important that we, I suppose, lay the groundwork. This is the basis of our work, that we're clear on our boundaries, it's confidential, it's one document, it's 15 minutes. Anything outside of that, it's a referral to the careers consultants, to Emma to signpost them, to my career for jobs, etc., etc., etc. Empathy, it's so important for our students to feel heard and responded to, and by being open and inclusive, not just with our language, with our words, with our body language, our tone, etc. Really important. The environment, you know, setting up, I think I've named that already, but an environment where we arrive on time, and I ought to be showing good practice today. So I got called out on that, but, you know, arriving on time, making sure the IT is working well, really important, you know, eye contact. The essentials, they need to be named, not to be taken for granted, because they do make a difference between an effective interaction. And then actually looking at the communication skills and spending a little bit of time looking at the skill of reflecting, paraphrasing, summarizing, and open questioning. So again, very familiar model to a lot of people in the audience. What we've done is we've adapted Jared Egan's skilled helper model for the CV clinic, where we have the opening, which is really important in terms of the student relaxing, understanding. It's a 15-minute interaction, which can be a little bit tight, but that's what we're working with. And contracting, really important. So the student knows it's one document in 15 minutes, and then giving the feedback, quality feedback, specific for whatever the student needs, and then closing the interaction, you know, and again, depending on time, you know, is it clear the action or the changes that you will make to the CV, and referring, as I said, for other services. So there's quite a bit of referral that will happen, because a lot of students unclear about where they're going in life, don't know. So there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot that comes into a CV clinic, and the CV reviewers are super helpful in terms of helping the students to get what they need elsewhere. And so that was looking at the skills and the model. And now the students, the CV reviewers in the workshop at the end give each other feedback on their actual CVs. So again, that's fun, and they get to know each other, and they also give each other feedback in terms of using using the reflection framework, which is essentially what we've just been through, which is systematically reflecting in the workshop, at supervision and ongoing professional development, thinking about how did I build rapport? Was the contracting clear? What was the quality of the CV or LinkedIn feedback did I give? How was the closure? Was it clear what action the student needed to take? Did I need to refer, and did I do that effectively? So they're kind of the key prompts for reflection, and then all of the critical skills when it comes to communications, actually consciously reflecting about those. And there's other, like the interaction overall, or other reflection prompts that we use in the workshop, but the elements of the interaction are the key ones for as the basis of the reflection. Really important for the CV reviewers to know where to go for what. So it's Emma for scheduling and payment, for the lead careers consultant for supervision, skills and professional development, and then our director, Orla Bannon, for contractual related questions and allocation of work. So that's essentially, that is the training. And many of you are probably doing something similar, and I'd love to hear what you're doing. And if you have ideas for how we can do things differently, we'd be very much open to that. The feedback was really good from the CV reviewers. Essentially, they found it very helpful or helpful, 100% very helpful, and all strongly agreed that they felt more skilled to deliver a CV clinic, which is what we want. So the impact of the clinics, it's just been really a success on so many different levels for the service. And like the CV reviewers, like they are part of our team. They have their own community of support, benefit from their own skills and professional development. And Fidelma is going to say more about that now. The careers consultants can focus on our careers counselling work, our careers education work, collaborating with schools. So we're using our time to the best we can. Emma on reception, she's very much managing the operation in terms of scheduling, and we've had some excellent student feedback, and the evidence is here. So over a number of years, I've just pulled all of this out. We've had a 25% response rate to the survey. So each student is asked 2 questions. Did you find the CV LinkedIn clinic useful? And to rate it on a 1 to 4 scale. And also, please share any other comments regarding your experience. So we're looking at 97% of students find the CV LinkedIn clinic useful or very useful. 78% very useful. That's a good result. And the comments, just really heartwarming comments. And loads of really positive comments that you can read there in your own time. And we also have developmental feedback. And the developmental feedback typically is 15 minutes is not enough time and poor internet connectivity. So I'm sure everybody in the audience is familiar with this type of feedback. And the first comment there, the session is good, but a little too short. We only managed to finish the CV part and didn't have time for the LinkedIn profile. So again, it's the importance of that contracting. 1 document. And the second comment there, should comment and make changes on the CV on the spot by the reviewer. So that was an international student. I think it was India. And there is that intercultural piece that's really important. And for the student to understand this is a learning experience. It's for you to make the changes and take on board what you would like from the clinic. But as I said, loads and loads of positive ones. And actually, let's just read one of them, because I kind of feel like it embodies, I think, the last comment here. This is my second time attending a CV clinic because I find them exceptionally beneficial. The one-to-one personally tailored clinic is an unparalleled opportunity to make the most out of a CV. The careers team understands the importance of a strong CV and offers wonderful, honest advice. The advice I received regarding my CV was professional and helpful. I can guarantee that I will use all the beneficial feedback I received to alter my CV accordingly. So I think that really captures the confidence building, the learning, the practical, applicable advice that our CV reviewer team are delivering. So over to you, Fidelma, and thank you so much for coming on board for this. And I probably will stop sharing so people can actually see you, because I think you're going to speak to the camera. You're not going to use slides, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I've no slides, Orla.
Okay.
Okay, thanks very much, Orla. And I'm really delighted to be here today and have the opportunity to share my experience as being a CV reviewer with the Trinity Career Service. I suppose I'll just start briefly. So I'm going to take about 10 minutes, but I'll probably go slightly over. Time is a bit of my MO, so hopefully I keep it close to 10 minutes. So my name is Fidelma Flannery. My background is I'm a registered nurse in intellectual disabilities. I have a master's in health services management, and I'm currently a final year PhD student looking at the impact of COVID on mental health for older adults with an intellectual disability. I'm using longitudinal data from the intellectual disability supplement to the Irish longitudinal study on ageing, but I'll speak in a minute why that's a bit relevant to my role as a CV reviewer. Prior to commencing my PhD, I was Assistant Director of Services and Director of Nursing in a large disability service in Dublin. And as part of that role, I would have been heavily involved in the recruitment and retention of staff. So when I seen the ad for the CV reviewer, it really appealed to me, and I felt that I had the skills and the experience that could be beneficial to students who were going to access the service. So it really was an area of interest to me. I'd seen where CVs weren't where they should be for the individual that maybe we ended up hiring or that we maybe ended up interviewing. It wasn't reflective of the skills and abilities of the individual that was in front of us sometimes. So that's why I really thought I would be able to make a difference for others within this role. So I applied and I was successful, and I was delighted about that. And Orla has outlined the training, but just from my perspective as a CV reviewer, it was very clear from the outset the outcomes and expectations of training, and they were really clearly presented to us. The opportunities to role play, to ask questions and to observe a clinic in real time. The trainers and the CV reviewers that taught us at the time were so open and honest, and because they were experienced, you learned so much from what they had to offer. The training was focused on framing the meeting, and Orla has outlined that as well, but the importance as well of grounding yourself prior to the clinic and making sure that you're present and available to the student when they come online, and just making sure that you're ready to completely concentrate on the 15 minutes that's in front of you for the student's benefit. So during the clinics, so building rapport, contracting is so important, and being clear on what the student wants to achieve at the end of them 15 minutes. Reviewing the CV or the LinkedIn profile or cover letter and closing. So the importance of framing that meeting was really clearly communicated to us. The fact that we are a point of referral as well, that we do have boundaries and limitations within our role as CV reviewers, and that if something does come up that's outside of them boundaries, that we have the opportunity to refer on to the career consultants and the experts in each of the areas. So the areas like Orla outlined was, steps and a star profile. So they're so beneficial in structuring the CV review. So making sure that the student understands the important overarching aspects of a CV, being structured, tailored, evidence-based, professional, succinct. And that really gives you the opportunity to really frame the actual review of the CV. And then utilisation of the star profile. So students are generally quite good at the situation that they were in, the task that they were required to carry out, or really helping the student identify the actions that they took within that role and the results that they achieved, to really bring forward their unique contribution and their abilities and skills that they're going to bring forward to their prospective employer. So a lot of students aren't aware of the process of recruitment. So what is a CV for? So CV is to get an interview, and it's really about getting that across and helping the student identify what the valuable information on the CV is that's going to help them get to their goal, and what maybe is not really necessary on their CV. You know, a lot of undergrad students might have a lot of information in relation to secondary school achievements or things like that. And if they are valuable to have on the CV, or how they can be presented in a way to show that they may be valuable. And if they're not, is there value in including them? So it's about working through them type of things with the student. So I was delighted to have the opportunity to train new CV reviewers onto the team this time round. And really I had a very solid foundation on the training that I had received when I became a CV reviewer. So to replicate that and to bring my own experience into it was really valuable opportunity for me, and to develop my own skills in that area as well, in training and helping peers. So as a registered nurse in intellectual disability, reflective practice and engaging in ongoing reflective practice is core to my discipline, and it's something that we learn as students and that we teach to our students along the way. But to be honest, the model that's employed for CV reviewers is exemplary. The way in which we are supported, supervised and engaged in reflective practice as part of the CV reviewer training is something that I wish that we could replicate more sometimes in the School of Nursing, because on completion of our initial CV review clinics, we had an experienced career consultant available to us to work through what was the situation, what went well, what maybe could have went better, and identify how we're going to employ those improvements moving forward. So I really can't praise that model enough in the CV reviewer training. It was just fantastic. And that doesn't just end at the end of our supervision period, that the CV consultant or the career consultant is available to us throughout the CV clinics, you know, to access if we did have any issues. And in addition to that, the executive officer, Emma, is always there, is always available to us for any difficulties that come up. So that support is always available to us as CV reviewers. So just we do have, so as regards peer support, so Orla outlined that there is a network of us, and we do keep in good contact, and one of our main ways is we have a WhatsApp group. So when we have our shifts, there is autonomy within our role. If roles have to be swapped, or if something just does come up, that we do have that ability to be autonomous within our roles and to switch if we do have to. Just that we received the list in advance of the clinics, and there's a Teams chat set up. So we're in constant communication both with Emma and with the other CV reviewers. So we can manage, maybe, for example, if maybe we've seen a student already, we might swap with another CV reviewer so to get a broader perspective from the CV reviewers, because inevitably we all have different styles and unique contributions in our own right. So maybe if we think a student might benefit, we do switch around to make sure that the student gets the maximum benefit from engaging in the CV clinic. And then, so skills developed. So one of the goals of pedagogy is to prepare students to work in the real world and to be able to apply their skills in real life situations. However, to get that opportunity, they have to be able to get the job. And I think that can often be a little gap that's missed in colleges. And that's why this service is so unique, is it helps the people to get the jobs, to apply their skills in the real world. And that's what I think is such a beneficial part of being involved in this. And it allows the student to present the knowledge, skills and abilities that they have, and to effectively communicate this to their prospective or desired employer. From my own experience, so I mentioned my involvement in the IDS Tilda study. An unexpected benefit of my own experience was I was involved in data collection when COVID hit, and as everybody else here was impacted by the same way. So we had to move from in-person to online interviews. So my study sample is individuals with intellectual disabilities. And there's you have to be very aware of your own communication and the communication of other individuals, the subtleties and nuances of communication. And I feel that both my involvement as a CV reviewer helped me in my data collection, and then my experience in my data collection helped me as a CV reviewer in being aware of them subtleties of communication, and it was really helpful for me on both sides, and it was a skill that I developed because I was part of the CV review team at Trinity Career Services. And in addition, my experience, I feel, allowed me to have the ability to make the reasonable adjustments that were required for students with disabilities who are accessing the service. As I said, many students are unaware of the process of recruitment within organisations, and this lack of understanding impacted on how they approach their CV development. So highlighting the importance of targeting your CV and building the CV based on the job description and tailoring it to the company that the student is applying to, and helping the student examine their transferable skills, wherever they gained them skills, that they can present them in such a way that are relevant to the role that they're applying for. And so many students don't recognise the unique contribution, awards, achievement, things that they have achieved within their academic career and within their lives, that they can present in such a way that will enhance their potential to get an interview. So as Orla has mentioned, 15 minutes is a short time in which to address a complete CV. So it is encouraged that the students have addressed the fundamentals of CV development in advance of attending the CV clinic. And that is not always the case. So in these instances, we can only provide a high level overview of what is required of a CV, but they do have this facility to book into a CV clinic in the next month if they want to fine tune it based on the access and the resources that are available from Trinity Career Services. So I'm gone over my 10 minutes, but I'm just going to conclude on the benefits to the reviewer, because the benefits to the student are, I hope I've identified some of them, but they are massive. Along with the CV clinic and accessing the career consultants and the resources that are available on the website, it's so beneficial to the student. But my involvement with Trinity Career Services as a CV reviewer has been incredibly positive aspect of my time as a PhD student, and it has enhanced my student experience. It's obviously enhanced my own CV preparation and development skills and my interview preparation. I've developed strong links within the Trinity Career Services, and I've accessed and utilised the resources myself for my own career progression. And my confidence has grown with experience and good and constantly employing a good reflective practice following each of my clinics. And I look forward to my CV review clinics every week. There's something that just I really enjoy, and they really are something that is really beneficial to me as a person. So networking and feeling part of a team, being a PhD student can be a lonely journey. Indeed, being a student, being a human over the last 3 years can have been a lonely journey. And having the opportunity to engage one-to-one with another person, and from our perspective as CV reviewers, to be able to help a fellow student, a peer, in an aspect of where you have the expertise to deliver that to them is such a fantastic feeling. I've gained such an understanding of the college and of the various schools outside of my own field, and it really has broadened my understanding and my knowledge around Trinity and the schools within it. But just to finish, having the opportunity to engage with fellow students on a one-to-one basis and to have helped them identify areas where they can present their unique abilities, their unique selling point, and to enhance their ability to develop their CVs to improve their perspective of obtaining their desired employment. Simply by telling people that they're doing well and that they're progressing and that they're doing a good job, and by making a difference to each student, that has been the greatest benefit of my experience of being a CV reviewer, and I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to do it.
Fantastic. Fidelma, you're a star. And how lucky are our Trinity students? I think we're very lucky to have Fidelma, and she's one of a team. She's one of a team. So, and we have another 10 minutes. We said 40 minutes, a little bit delayed starting, but let's see if we've any questions first. And then Emma, you definitely need to contribute to this, but let's see what the questions are first. If there are any, if people want to turn on their mics in the chat, keep an eye on the chat. Thank you, Angela. We will support you, Angela.
We'll be headhunting Fidelma.
No way, you're not getting her. Put up a fight. Not a hope.
Yeah, Orla, just wondering, say on the financing of that, are you putting in a budget in advance?
Again, the other Orla, we've three
Oh,
Orlas
yeah.
in the career service. Orla Bannon, as you well know, is our director. She's the money person. And as far as I understand, we have, well, Orla can speak to it. She's just turned on herself on. Over to you, Orla.
Yeah, thanks, Orla. Thanks, Fidelma, for that. Great to hear everything that's going on. And in terms of budgets, we use some of our employer income is what we use. So that's what we use for that. So we from income we generate from careers fairs and things like that, we put a portion of that aside to fund this service.
No, it's just excellent. Yeah.
Mm.
Well done.
And it's
thanks for
great,
sharing.
as you said, as Orla said, the real value is really on, for the career consultants in freeing up their time to kind of work more with the academic schools and that work. So that's really where the value is for us. Yeah.
But it's a win-win, your team
definitely.
win, Fidelma's winning, and the feedback
Yeah.
from the students. I mean, you can't make that up, that was
Yeah,
just fantastic. So
And then the employers are benefiting as
Yeah.
well, Angela,
Yeah.
because that's what we're using some of that income for, is to do that. So they're getting better quality CVs, and so it's benefiting everyone. So I hate the word pipeline. I know
No.
I'm shy away from using it, but it builds into every single element, and it's a really integrated service, and everyone who's involved gets a benefit out of it.
Agree.
well done.
Thank you, Angela. There doesn't seem to be any questions, Emma. Is there anything that you think we've missed, or anything you think would be helpful for people to hear?
Yeah, I think so the relationship with the reviewer, with the person who trains is formal, and my relationship with the reviewers is brilliant, but it's less formal. So we become, we basically have a WhatsApp group, and I understand people are very busy, so I'd say, look, I'm doing the hours now, I hope to have them for you this week. And also, often we'd always have someone on backup, but someone can't do it. They'd say, I can't do it. So I'd say, absolutely no problem. And we all work together. So it works really, really, really well. And I have always said from the start, as Fidelma said, if you can't do it, see if anyone else can do it. Swap amongst yourselves. If not, I can help out. So that works really well. Some things to consider on a practical level is definitely have someone always on backup. If you, as an online service, we always need to have 10-minute gaps between the reviews because of technical issues. So it's just those practical things you learn as you go along. The Teams chat is brilliant. So I can say to Fidelma, Mary Flynn has dropped out at 4 o'clock. Can you try? We have a waiting list, which is brilliant. We have a backup list. So always have a list of students that that we can contact if the students don't log in. And the thing about it is, we've amongst ourselves, well, definitely me and definitely the reviewers, we kind of have this joke where we love having full attendance. So like we'd say, we joke about employee of the month because we get the employee of the week because you got full attendance. But I would actually, it's a lot of admin work online, because I do a bit of extra. I contact the people who have booked a spot and say, look, you booked a spot tomorrow. Just remember, it's in person or online. And if you don't really need because a lot of the times I just forget, there's a waiting list, so maybe book another slot. And that actually seems to work. So they do get an automated reminder from the system, but sometimes, if it's a busy time of the year, I go a little bit further. I'd also contact people on the waiting list and say, look, you're on a waiting list, so here's how it works. If someone doesn't log in, we'll contact you, so try be online. So it is a little bit of extra admin, but like for them, I really enjoy the clinics, and I find them really, really useful and really beneficial. And I just say one more thing I've noticed about the clinics is that sometimes I can hear the reviewers and they're phenomenal, but I also think having students do the clinics is more beneficial sometimes, because in the past when they met a CC, they'd use it as almost a careers consultant meeting, not a CV review. Where this way with the reviewers, the boundaries a bit clearer. That you're not meeting your careers consultant, it is for a CV, and that seems to be even work better from the start. Now I know sometimes students will want more, but then I say to Fidelma or Seamus, just tell them to contact me and I'll put them in contact with their careers consultant. So it saves a lot of time in that area. But listen to the reviewers, they're absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you, Emma.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Couldn't happen without you. So wondering, in terms of everybody that's here, are there any questions or
There was some other
comments
questions, sorry, there were like
Oh,
noticed
we
them
might
on
have
the
missed.
chat.
on the chat? Thanks, Orla.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Unless-
looking. Okay, Elaine, Niamh, Sally, what are the questions there?
I think someone was asking about my career, about how
Oh,
we
yeah.
do it in terms of my career, and about how students book into the different time slots.
Well,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
to be honest, that is a Target Connect question. There is functionality built into the system. We set it up as an event, and students simply register to attend it.
Yeah.
And as Emma said, we switch on the waiting list facility.
Yeah.
So it's very straightforward to actually set up My Career or Target Connect for it. Will you share a link? Yes, I'm sure Caroline will send a link, share a link afterwards. Logistical question, how are students booking into these appointments? All online. And how many hours a week? We do 2 to 4 hours, 4 hours during busy times, September, October, November, and then 2 hours a week throughout the year. Is that true, Emma?
Yeah, and I'm very, very lucky because Orla, Bannon and Orla, they give me the autonomy to see what the demand is, and then I can increase in a reviewer if needed. So it's brilliant. We can always really easily meet the demand for students. But I've learned over the years that maybe you might have 20 people book, but loads of people don't show up. So I'm very, you live and learn, but it's definitely great with the online. You can really expand the demand, and then I can see very quickly that during term time, a lot of people will want to come over to the office, but in December, I've moved them all online. So it's brilliant to have that flexibility with My Career. You can either have them in person or online, and they just book a slot, and I can see how many booked. I'm a bit obsessed with it, actually. I do love it. How many booked in, how many's on the waiting list. But it's it's like the goal to get as many people seen as possible. So it's brilliant.
Excellent, excellent. And if there's no more questions, I am interested. If there's anybody in the room who's using CareerSet or VMOC or one of the online tools for CV clinics, and what's your experience been, or what are you thinking when you hear this approach, or hearing just some experience in the room? No pressure, but just would be useful to hear other voices.
Orla, it's Judy Murphy here. How are you?
Hi, Judy.
Well
Good to
done.
hear you. Thank you.
Brilliant. That was really brilliant again. And just a couple of things. Again, great to have the team there. And I run something similar, but I do it with final year HR students. So it's sort of linked into the applied side of the HR, and spent a lot of time with them in third year around the CV piece. A different structure in terms of the training, which is over a number of weeks, but empower them. They come up with when suits them to come, and the commitment is brilliant, and they absolutely love it. So that was just the first thing. So well done. It's great to see another perspective and another way of doing it, which is brilliant. I'm using CareerSet at the minute, so using it with a lot of students. So happy to have a conversation with you, if you like, offline about that, but finding it very interesting. We're sort of, Angela and myself, from an ACTU point of view, we're both looking at it at the minute. So I'm conscious of time as well.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that, Judy. Great.
So if you want to contact me.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Cool.
And I saw Kathy Savage. So good to see you too, Kathy.
Hi, hello. Hi, everyone. That was really interesting. Thanks a million. So, yeah, we did use VMOC for many years, for about 5 years, but we've just moved away from it this year. And we're using I think Nicola's on the call as well. We're using the Ab Integro system, which we call My Career as well. Is that the same as that
We're
it's
Target
different,
Connect.
is it?
Yeah, we're Target Connect. It's
Oh,
my
Target
career is
Connect.
the branding for Trinity Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So within that there's a CV 360 and there's an interview 360. So the AI tools where you basically drop your CV into them, like they are very good, and they do bring you know, I suppose a first review to students, but they're not perfect, I would say. So sometimes we find with some of the systems, the score that you get, you know, like in VMOC, you'd get a high score, but a lot of the content was meaningless. So there was a lot of very, you know, strong action verbs and all of that. But actually, when you read it as a professional, it was a bit meaningless. However, in saying that, it did really advance the conversation with the career consultant, so you could get actually into really good specifics. So we found it transformative, really, in terms of, you know, language, grammar, structure, all of those basics that were very, very time consuming. So the conversation was much more beneficial. Now, with the new tool, we're working with it. So this year, we're looking at developing sort of house style CVs for kind of like pre-experienced students, experienced students, and executive students, so that internally we develop a house style, sort of similar to what you guys are doing, I suppose, and everybody is trained on that house style, and like as a service that will bring it to a certain level, and then it's up to the individual to develop beyond that. But we'll have like a benchmark of our house style in the Smurfit Graduate Business School. So Belfield, I mean, they're really good. There's loads of, I hadn't heard the other person that was talking there, that career set, I hadn't heard of that before, but there's lots of these tools out there that are good but not perfect, I would say.
Okay, and it's really useful to hear what your experience is. And are you training those people, or you're developing an in-house framework for those experienced people?
Yes. Yeah.
You're developing some kind of a CV framework for those students, or are they helping you deliver the service?
No, so we have we've 4 or 5 career coaches that would work with us to do like most of the sort of like yourselves. We do some income that we raise from fairs to hire. They'd be experienced career coaches who would have worked in careers or recruitment or, you know, executive search or related industries before. So they'd be coming from sort of a professional background, but then, you know yourself, I mean, you could ask everyone on this call what's good CV and you'll get different feedback. So we're just having kind of a common, okay, this is the house style that we'd recommend as a team.
Okay.
And obviously you can give individual feedback, but then try to get maybe more into sort of industry specific CVs, you know, and the language used around maybe in the tech world or in marketing or in HR or whatever it is. Like there's slight sort of industry kind of subtleties.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. And then I suppose the students kind of have a benchmark CV that they can use and then drop it into the system to get feedback on it. So that we kind of understand, okay, if you drop this kind of CV into the system, this is the sort of score.
Okay.
Like, you know, 85, that looks like a good CV.
Now I understand more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your house style is the starting point, then the Ab Integro is the next step, and then meeting a human is the third step.
Yeah. So for example, that, you know, you don't in theory come in to see us until you get a score of whatever it is, like 85 or 95.
Okay.
So that the work, kind of empowering the students, I suppose, to use the tools they have before they come in to meet us, really.
Yes.
And that when they do come in to meet us, it's more advanced kind of conversation.
Yes. That makes yes. And it's really helpful just to hear that thought process.
Yeah.
So you're working the AI. So it's actually being of use and meaningful.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, but you do, like with all technology, as everyone knows, is the technology is good, but you do need people to drive the projects, very much so, and, you know, to have kind of an expertise in developing CVs and all of that as well. And then there's a similar product within Abintegro of Interview 360, where you can sort of design interviews, mock interviews, and they get feedback from the system. Now, interestingly, students, like, they don't love it. They're a little bit shy about using it. But it's something, again, we can work with as we kind of learn the different products within the Abintegro system.
Yes.
It's
yeah,
really interesting.
Yeah, we Shortlist Me is our 24/7 video interview.
Right,
feedback.
okay.
Yeah.
Is it good, Orla?
Yeah, we think it's good. Like you, the students aren't mad about using it.
I know, it's interesting,
so
isn't it?
there's a lot of marketing needed. So we're working on that. It's a continuous project.
Yeah, ongoing.
But great experience if they use it. Yes.
So thanks so much for it's really interesting piece of work that you're doing. It's brilliant. It's really good.
Yeah, we're delighted with it. And what I'm interested in is the synergy between the AI, the robot, and the human.
I know.
Yeah. So that's our future, I suppose, is looking more at the online possibilities with the AI. Yeah. Thanks so much, Kathleen. Great to see you.
Yeah, lovely to see you.
Yeah, and I think our time is up, but Judy, you have your hand up before we close.
Yeah, just before you close, again, career set is actually quite similar. And what I find really good is I may go in to give a presentation to a class, and they might contact me after that, but I send them, or they have access then to career set, and it goes down through all the various different things, and you can personalize it. So we're only testing it at the minute. So in time, it certainly is possible to have our own template, and we can create a number of different templates. But, you know, following on from, again, can't remember her name just there now. Kathy. Following on from Kathy, definitely, I think in a number of cases, it's almost a precursor to a human meeting.
Yeah.
Not always necessary, but certainly beneficial to have the human impact, because they're not specific to maybe the island or the industry. So I think there is certain tailoring needed to meet the needs of our employers. That's all. I have to fly myself.
Yeah,
thanks everybody. It was brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Fidelma, so much. And thank you, Emma. And Angela, for your support. The fact that you're switched on and there for us. And Caroline in the background. I assume she's going to stop the recording. Catherine, you just come on. Are you okay there? Do you want to say hello?
I'll just say hello and just really thanks for such a fantastic presentation. Everyone really got lots of great ideas. I'm a little bit jealous of Fidelma and Emma as well.